This video is brought to you by the new Audible original, The Sandman. It seems like there's never been higher demand for director's cuts. Am I wrong?
No, you're very correct. People are plumbing the archives. They're like, what garbage do we have in the vaults? Maybe there's a slightly longer version that we have. We can give it to the masses. That's what the people want.
What director can we drag out from the depths of whatever they're up to make them re-edit this thing they're well and truly had enough of?
What director is dead and they cannot object to the fact that we're going to get all their offcuts and put it into a cinema?
Exactly. Leave a like if you could. Just got to add that. Because what we're going to be talking about today are director's cuts of films that exist, but we haven't yet seen. There's been rumors and speculations that these things are in the vault, waiting to be released. This is obviously off the back of the Snyder cut. We've done videos on that and what might actually be appearing in that movie.
Could be a hit.
Could be a great big hit, biggest hit. It will be, won't it?
It'll be big,
yeah.
big stuff.
There's also talk that David Ayer has his own cut of Suicide Squad as well.
That's right.
Which is in the works. There's more Jared Leto Joker.
There's a really gritty director's cut of the 1960s Batman movie.
Oh my goodness.
That's right.
Where he murders?
Oh, so much murder, yeah.
He does some murder in that movie
and
anyway.
some surfing.
And some surfing, yeah. That's it. But what I'd like to start with is a Batman movie. Have you heard the speculation and rumors that there is a darker version of 1995's Batman Forever?
I have heard that, yes.
Okay. So Mark Bernardin, who people would probably know as a writer and also podcaster on the podcast Fat Man Beyond, he talks about how he heard about this darker version of Batman Forever that exists, but Warner Brothers were unsure if there was any hunger for what is described as a much darker, more serious version of the film. I guess it's more Burton-esque.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah.
It was more of a gradual transition from Batman Returns to the neon nightmare that is Batman Forever.
And there is that transition in that movie that we see because the suit is similar. There are elements that do carry over. Obviously, they recast Two-Face, but it's quite a jarring disconnect still between the two movies. And the actor's different, obviously. These are some things that Variety confirmed that were removed from the movie. First of all, it's longer, which is often the case with director's cuts, but not always. I think there's a Blade Runner cut that's shorter. Might be Blade Runner. Might be a different movie.
You think of the trailer for Blade Runner.
Oh,
it's quite a bit shorter.
That is quite a bit, isn't it? Yeah. There's a Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face scene where he escapes from Arkham. Because in the movie, of course, he shows up and he's dangling from a helicopter going, ha, ha, ha,
I'm not in Arkham, he says.
That's right. There's also more of the Riddler invading the Batcave, which is also, of course, a famous sequence. I don't know if you remember it, where Jim Carrey's dancing his way in.
He's dancing and he's thrusting.
He's dancing and he's thrusting.
Bombing, I remember.
That's right. Also, a bulk of the version's runtime focuses on the emotional and psychological issues that led Bruce Wayne to become Batman. And we see a little bit of that because there's like mind-reading devices in that. Do you recall?
And a psychiatrist.
That's right, exactly. And there's also a sequence which has been revealed, which you can see, of Bruce Wayne facing down a giant human-sized bat.
Oh, that's right.
And here's the footage of that. It's quite remarkable. Yes, they put the giant bat in Batman v Superman. It's a clever callback.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's all I had to say. But also, it seems to me that this is less a darker version of that movie and just a longer version of that movie.
Sure,
the Two-Face escaping from Arkham doesn't sound particularly dark. It just seems like something we didn't really need to see.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I mean, I think it's more the emotional and psychological things that they're talking about, which makes it darker, because the scenes that they're talking about, I guess, except for the giant bat, they don't seem particularly grim and gritty, do they?
No, not at all.
But a giant bat is the grimmest thing you'll ever see in your life.
That's right.
Have you seen those pictures of those giant bats that have like the wingspan of a human being?
I refuse to see those.
Well, here it is now.
Ah.
Have you heard of The Breakfast Club, the movie?
Yes.
Of course. John Hughes apparently has a 2.5-hour cut. And the Blu-ray does showcase some of this. There's 50 minutes of scenes that were not in the final version, although the scenes are very rough and they're just in an analog format. They don't have the original prints, or maybe they exist maybe in John Hughes' vault somewhere. Of course, he passed away in 2009. One of the scenes is Carl the janitor predicts the future of the 5 teens and where they'll be in 25 years' time. And it's a bit grim. I can go through that now if you want.
Oh, really? So this is... Okay, sure. Go
Some
for
deleted stuff. So Bender kills himself after becoming a drug addict and a robot. Futurama joke. Yeah! Claire marries a man who will cheat on her multiple times.
And she's only got one eye. Futurama joke.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Brian is very successful in his high-paying job, but it's also high stress and he dies of a heart attack.
And he's got lobster claws. That's the last Futurama joke. Yeah.
Allison is an amazing poet, but nobody cares, and she ends up being a soccer mom.
Okay.
Futurama.
These are all very sad.
Yeah, I know. And Andrew will marry a beautiful stewardess who will lose her looks after having kids.
The sad dog that Fry leaves behind.
Yeah.
And
he never lost his looks.
No, that's true.
But apparently, though, the sequences don't really add to the movie. Again, it's that thing of it just makes it longer.
Yeah.
Like that movie is so precise and so well cut that I'm not sure it would benefit from it. That being said, I wouldn't, if they could put that together, I'd definitely check it out.
But it also ends in a kind of it ends in a very inspiring way. It ends in kind of a, freeze frame fist pump kind of way that,
even though they all died and turned into
I don't want to know
lobsters.
about any of those things. I want to believe that their futures are bright and they could end up anywhere.
Yeah.
Alive, specifically.
Are you familiar with Dune, 1984?
The movie Dune.
Yes.
Wait, Dune. Yeah.
Like the month. David Lynch's original cut of this movie was about 3 hours. They had to cut it down to 2 for cinemas. Apparently he shot 5 hours in total, which of course isn't uncommon for movies. It's like a cake and you got extra stuff.
That's right, exactly.
Is it like that?
Yeah, let's say it is.
Yeah, it is. It's
Anyway,
exactly
the cake
like
that
that
is Dune.
Yes.
There's more cake that's been molding away in a vault somewhere.
So there has been multiple extended cuts of Dune. And off the back of Dune, there's been video games which sort of tie into the movie. There's been a TV series which is separate. Of course, we are getting the reboot, which is coming up at some point. Maybe this year, who knows. But David Lynch himself has never gone back and definitively cut something together. He's kind of distanced himself from that movie because it was this huge sweeping epic which was supposed to take people by storm, and it's the new and serious Star Wars and all these kinds of things. And it didn't really end up being that. It does have this cult following, but all the versions that exist of that movie are not really his own, I guess.
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would go back and be like, well, the fans demanded it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's interviewing that monkey or whatever on Netflix. You know what he's up to. Yeah, I look, I don't think there hasn't been that much call for that. Maybe after the new Dune, people will want to know what his version ended up being. But yeah, that remains to be seen.
I'll say the people demanded it.
That's right. It's that time. What a time. This one's great. You're going to love it. Trust me. It's a good time. Because right now, you can actually listen to the new Audible original, The Sandman. Based on the best-selling DC graphic novels written by Neil Gaiman and adapted and directed by Dirk Maggs, this has been hailed by the Los Angeles Times Magazine as the greatest epic in the history of comic books. And this audio adaptation is decades in the making, starring the likes of James McAvoy in the title role. It follows Morpheus the Dream Lord as he's pulled from the dream realm and imprisoned on Earth. When he finally escapes, he must restore his power to rebuild his dominion. And that's just the start, featuring a powerhouse ensemble cast including Riz Ahmed, Kat Dennings, Michael Sheen, and more. I'm telling you, in your wildest dreams, you've never heard anything like this. Listen now, only on Audible. Go to audible.com/The Sandman. We can't really go past mentioning Fantastic Four 2015. Now, like the Justice League, we've done a video on this because we covered all the Fantastic Four movies for Caravan of Garbage. But some of the things that were dropped from the Trank version of that film, including some of the things from the trailers. Do you remember when the Thing was dropping into battle?
I remember that.
There's footage of the Fantastica, which is like this jalopy that Mr. Fantastic puts together. Apparently at one point, Dr. Doom was going to be, well, not even Dr. Doom, because originally he was Domashev.
That's right, yes.
Which they then changed with ADR for the final movie, but he was going to be the Herald of Galactus. And now you know how everything was like green when they go into the negative zone.
Yeah.
It was going to be red. It's a real Justice League situation where they do that color palette swap.
How does that even come about? Did somebody do market research and be like, if people leave this movie...
I think it's lava. I think it's lava.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Because people are famously scared of lava.
That's right.
Market research
The floor
says
is
so.
lava. You know that show?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
People are afraid of the lava. They should use real lava on that show.
I think so too.
I know they'd kill more people, but I'd watch it then.
We'd definitely watch it more, wouldn't we?
Yeah. I want to see somebody go into the lava and come up as a skeleton, you know? You don't want to see that?
What I would like is them to go in the lava and come back as a skeleton, which is very similar except with a top hat on. Maybe a cane doing a dance.
Anyway, Fantastic Four 2015. You never know whether we'll see a version of this.
Yeah.
Because you can't really rule it out forever.
That's true, yeah.
Things leak. Studios come around.
Disney need more content for Disney Plus.
That's right.
They'll put it together, yeah. They get an intern to put it together.
But I saved what I think is one of the most interesting and absolutely despicable ones for last.
Despicable.
Are you familiar with The Thing?
So not the Thing of the Fantastic Four fame.
No.
But the Thing, the shape-shifting monster from outer space.
Correct.
Yes, I'm intimately familiar with him.
Are you familiar with his prequel, The Thing 2011?
Yes.
Same name. I don't think that's a horrible movie, but the elements that I don't like were the things that were changed, and I'm going to get into it now, if you don't mind. There's actually a terrific video from Good Bad Flicks that breaks down this in its entirety. This is where I got a lot of this information. So people want to check that out, I'll link it below.
Oh, they won't need to after this. We'll be so
No,
evocative.
they should support other YouTube channels.
Fine, whatever.
Whatever. So the idea was that from the start, this was going to be a practical effects situation like the
previous
original
one,
Thing.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That movie wasn't beloved when it came out. People hated it because it was frightening and awful.
Yeah.
Which it is, but in the best way. But the original idea of that movie, The Thing is this horrible CGI monster with a human face kind of bobbing in the middle of it.
Yeah, right.
That was an addition because it was going back to the ship to escape. But what they actually end up doing, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, they go inside the spaceship and there's a whole lot of alien dead bodies on the ship. And what they figure out is what the civilization has been doing is been finding different alien creatures and kind of storing them and being like, what does this one do? But they grab the thing and the thing's awful. So it escaped from the ship, got loose, killed most of them. So the pilot crashes the ship into Earth to kind of save itself and trap the thing. And the thing, whilst trying to escape the ship, gets frozen in ice. So at the end of the movie, it goes back, changes itself into the alien pilot, which died and tries to take off. And there's this incredible practical puppet with like googly eyes and whatever. So they kill that.
Like those craft googly eyes that you stick on
exactly.
things.
So they go in to stop it. Joel Edgerton's character flamethrowers it. And then it's figured out that he's actually also the Thing, but he did that as a distraction because she was going to drop a grenade and kill everybody. And he's like, no, if I kill this, then I can still escape as the Thing, right? Anyway, they showed test screenings of that and the people behind it, the executives, were like, this is horrible. We hate the special effects on this. Then they just basically dumped CGI over every creature effect. And that alien pilot is covered by like a Tetris block hologram kind of situation.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so every creature effect, which looks really good when you go back and look at it, they were supposed to be slightly enhanced with CGI. That was the idea. And they just pasted just really slapdash CGI over the top. The movie was pushed back months to get this done. The budget blew out. It ended up costing $38 million and it made $31 million.
That's less than it cost to make it.
So they really blew it on this movie. Which, look, I'm not saying it would have been an incredible movie. I don't think it would have matched the first one. But those movies on the whole line up fairly well, and they went out of their way to have all the deaths that happened in that original movie, even though I know it's not the original because it's a remake. I know, but they go out of their way to make them line up. There's also, of course, there's other examples of extended footage director's cuts. No one's ever really seen the David Fincher Alien 3, mostly also because he didn't really get to make that.
Yeah, of course.
You know? There's also apparently a lot of extra footage from Assassin's Creed, which people saw in the test screening, which makes it a better movie.
I do not believe that.
Well, that director, I really enjoy his work, but that I couldn't get through that movie
By
at
better,
all.
they mean more boring, right?
I don't know. I think you could flesh out that world. I think there's a really good core idea there, which could be something. And The Thin Red Line, which I think is already quite an incredible movie. Anyways, if people have any ideas of what director's cuts they want to see, we'd love to hear them. Any of these? Any of your own? What's the best director's cut? Is it Aliens? Maybe. What do you think it is?
Aliens.
It's Blade Runner? Is it
Yeah,
Aliens?
it's Blade Runner.
Is it Alien 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Anyway, leave them below if you want. We also have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. It comes out every Monday morning. Doesn't it, Mason? Anyways, I'm at Mr. Sunday Movies on Twitter.
Oh, I'm at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter.
Subscribe if you want.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.